Something happened there. So, Twitter, swearing. All right. So this is interesting. So, want to revise this. Language like this could lead to someone reporting your reply, but you can change it before sending. So what's interesting here is that what they're doing is putting in plain sight to the user all of the processing that they would do without showing you. Okay, so let's say when we talk about, the thing that got me suspended, sorry for banging the table, the tweet that got me suspended, which was the, at real Donald Trump, send nudes, that got me a 12-hour suspension. Basically what this is it's just letting you know that you've been flagged. Okay. So that I can see is actually a good thing because it gives people a chance to sort of rethink, especially the fact that they've limited it to replies, because that seems to be a specific pattern. That's why I don't get much fucking grief. Because I don't engage in, I just don't do that kind of thing. I don't reply to people calling them names. It's just not really my style. I talk about concepts and in the general, and I will definitely subtweet you. And definitely quote tweet from time to time if you're a particular grade of cunt. But at the same time, I think that this, again, both things can be true at once, which is that you can find it kind of creepy. And then you can actually go, I like where they're going with this. Because they're doing it anyway. The point is that they're doing this anyway, okay? A lot of the suspensions that you get, a lot of those, especially replies. So a reply has a particular pattern to it. I was talking about this before where you've got certain keywords, right? If you go with a fucking spider and a gender critical, I'm a fucking TERF, men, adult, human, female. You got all these signals. You've got you don't have your real name. You've got an account that is new, right? You don't have many followers, and you start replying to people, individuals, calling them men, and then you go, fuck. I'm not surprised. Okay, you look like a bot. And you look like a spammer because they're hard to differentiate, right? So basically, what this does is it has two benefits that I can see, which is that first of all, if it is a bot, okay, they will just push through. But if it's actually a person, then a person might stop and think, okay, which is, well, is it worth it? Is this worth it? And I think I've talked about this before, the behavioral stuff and persuasive design and how that can be used. Big qualifier, big qualifier, big qualifier. It can, when used in an ethical way, right? The idea of the nudge, which I'll talk about, can be used to promote good behaviors. Now, the problem with everything is that there is a good side to this, which is, do you want to promote eating an apple and getting exercise and your Apple Watch rewarding you for standing up and breathing? Okay, that's one example of a nudge in the right direction, which is getting you to do, certain things that are good for you. Okay, and to train you and all of those sorts of things. The flip side of that is fucking Candy Crush. Okay, or Waze directing you to McDonald's. Okay, when you drive past a billboard. There's a flip side to those things. Now, I bought too heavily on the positives, right? When I look back on my career, I think I underestimated. I knew that the capacity for the misuse and evil was there. I just had no idea just how fucking mainstream it would be. I thought that the unethical practices would be outliers, that they would not be the mainstream. The ethical UX designers seem to be the ones that, like myself, are the ones that seem to be sidelined in the movement. And that's the thing that I got wrong, which was that I have a tendency to be an idealist about people. So anyway, that was just, I can't remember what that, hang on, let me just refresh. I don't know if you're chatting or not, because I think it created a whole new thing. I don't go to generally I don't go to conferences because I think they're full of dickheads telling me stuff. The only conferences I go to are ones that I speak out. That's one of the things that, well, first of all, because I wasn't rich enough. I could never afford it. Single, a mum of 3, running a business from home, sidelined in my own industry for speaking up about it, and I just got on with the work. I undercharged and undervalued myself like a woman does, and I got, wrecked off, had a lot of stop-starts, and I'm sorry, but the choice between air tickets and a $1,500 ticket and paying my bills, I know which one I choose. So the answer, and also the fact that I found that the conferences that I did go to weren't worth it. They were just clicks, and they're just another fucking thing. I don't know. I just read books and research and test myself and create my own IP. So yes, to answer you, I tend to avoid industry shit, just because they're a pack of cunts. I know that sounds horrible. I'm just saying. I don't have that small talk gene, and I've seen the writing on the wall. I used to go to conferences. There's an old blog post from sort of 2010 where I critiqued what they were talking about citizen journalism on Twitter, and they were just completely missing the fucking point. Completely missing it. And I've just been sitting there, and I just ended up being that person in the room that got nothing from it and was just trouble. I just went, well, why? I'm sorry, but you're seeing, they used to have, they have all these HR reps talking, oh my God, don't get me started on these fucking HR people. Oh my God. Anyway, there's one particular person that I fucking can't stand at the moment, an HR person who's been appointed as head of innovation just because she asked to. And it's like, what the fuck? And she's like pushing for all of this smart cities stuff and big data, and it's all surveillance. And it's like, if you need to be what the fuck? HR are the corporate cops, and they're the corporate army. Like, seriously, they're just fucking henchmen for fucking surveillance. Anyway, my natural enemy. HR are my natural enemy. Not because I don't think that how far from Soylent Green is people is human resources just as a fucking industry. Anyway, we started. You see humans as resources to begin with, you're fucked in the head. Okay, sidetrack. I'm so glad hundreds of thousands of people don't watch this, because I'm just fucking, I end up with lynch mobs. Okay, so according to Reuters, the test starts today. You get the gist of this, okay? Okay, let's talk about nudging, all right? Okay, I tried to find something that was nice and easy. This one is a good article. I refer to it frequently if I want to explain it to other people. But basically, let's look at the graphic. I'm not going to go into fucking dry detail. You can call it choice architecture. There's a number of different fucking words for it. It's cross-discipline. It's something that has been studied in economics, politics, marketing, and usually, like anything, good terms that come out of philosophy, economics, and politics, marketing takes them and fucks them and makes them evil, okay? That's what's happened here, which was that I was excited about the political potential for fucking the greatness of the internet, freedom, free exchange of ideas. That's so cute. We're so young. The free exchange of ideas, building relationships, building networks, building communities that aren't limited to geography. And so for me, someone who has been limited by geography my entire life, being in a redneck fuckwit town, I wonder why they don't like me. Because I call them redneck fuckwits, probably. Not all of them. Not all of them. Just a lot. Really fucking dumb in this town. Really dumb. Okay, anyway, what was I going to say? Yes, I thought, people being limited by geography. I built my web design business, an international web business from Perth, with clients that weren't in Perth. And obviously the Perth people didn't like that because they couldn't control me, right? So anyway, fucking whatever. I sound crazy. I sound like I've got an axe to grind. The only reason why I'm all bitchy today is because I have been writing a lot of stuff and revisiting a lot of this like history and realizing how fucked over I was by these cunts. And the fact that the Twitter article came out, about this, like, why do you swear on, it just reminded me of the, why do you swear on Twitter? And my answer was, because you don't want me to. It just reminded me of all that. So I'm kind of, is opening some old fucking wounds. I also had an exchange with some dumb PR fuck, which anyway, he is an absolute fucking dolt. So anyway, all these dickheads, they seem to be resurfacing during the virus, like whatever. It's almost like all their like stupid circle jerk events have been cancelled. So now they're back on Twitter and back in my spaces again, and they're insufferable. Absolutely insufferable. Insufferably stupid. I am a nice person. I promise. Like I said, I've just opened some old wounds this week and I'm feeling a bit pissed off about it. So anyway, what is a nudge? So a nudge is fairly, it's fairly neutral in its own way. So, like psychologically speaking, it can be used equally for good and equally for bad things. Now, unfortunately, marketers have started to use nudges in a really, really unethical way. In tech, think about Candy Crush, right? You know, that addictive, that thing that like sort of thrives on that same thing that gives you that dopamine rush. Twitter and Facebook, it's basically the same thing, except it's likes, retweets, engagements, influence rather than literal money, right? And literal rewards. It's just fucking social ones. So what nudges do is that they they nudge you in a certain direction. So what they do is they rely on the fact that we're generally stupid beasts, right? We cannot possibly take in every potential factor when we make every potential decision. Imagine just, something like coffee. Okay, I know that's a stupid idea. I just happened to see coffee. Let's hope this metaphor works. But let's take coffee, right? Think about all the choices that go into this cup of coffee. What we do is we rely on habit and we rely on what's available. We rely on what's the easiest and quickest and, what's easiest and quickest, what's easier and more quickly available to us. Okay. And what it does is nudging, right, in its purest form, it can cause you, it pushes you in a certain direction and utilizes our biases and our propensity for, or our tendency to rely on habit, our tendency to rely on patterns and those sorts of things in order to push us in a certain direction. Now, you can see how that could be both good and bad. Okay, I've just given you two examples of that. In economics, that's a good, can be a good thing. Obviously, the discipline of economics is very much focused around choice, and philosophy questions whether choice is a thing. Look at Chomsky. Manufacturing consent is actually a really good analysis of choice and how that's actually weaponized in a bad way. Okay, but at the simplest form, as a designer, a nudge nudges you in a certain direction based on certain things. So in the case of Twitter, what they're trying to do is encourage people, well, twofold. Encourage people to be nicer to each other. That's the bigger picture, right? Which sounds a bit fucking creepy and Orwellian. But when you drill it down to the being limited to the reply feature and, all of these sorts of things, that you can see that they're trying to make it both safer for the recipient and the person using the apps, and also prevent you from getting yourself banned. So it's actually quite a good thing. Now, if it was anyone but Twitter, it's just, I don't know. I don't know how to feel about these things. This is all emerging, and I don't give absolute answers. We're just having a discussion here, okay? So, what is a nudge? All right, let me just zoom in for you. All right, so it causes like a policy shift, or it's an encouragement. It can help you to make better decisions, but it also can help you to make decision making easier. Okay, so like with coffee, right? Branding, marketing is very much about making a decision easier, right? If I had to choose between different brands of coffee, well, I choose what's easiest. Like we have an espresso machine because an espresso, there's all these, when you think about every single purchasing decision that you make and every little choice that you make in between, you're being nudged like by varying factors. Okay. Some people are more prone to research than others. I don't. I just go, okay, reviews. Okay, I look at things like social proof is a good example of something that can be used to nudge people, right? That's why people like to game the Google reviews and Facebook reviews and all those sorts of things. It helps to remove the decision because making decisions is hard for humans. It uses a lot of brains, okay? It's too many. I don't know if you've ever had to try and when you run a business and have kids. In fact, maybe that's probably why a lot of people are very, there's a very real energy cost associated with having a lot of decisions to make. And I think that a lot of the shock that we've gone through this last couple of months, a lot of it might be that we've had to make decisions without any clear solutions or answers or oh God, we're not going to say unprecedented, are we? But the idea of something being unprecedented puts a massive load on us, which is that we need to make decisions based on the past. We're very good at making decisions based on the past and based on previous experience, and the cognitive load required to make new choices with new rules and new patterns is exhausting. Okay, so that on some level, on a small, not a small scale, that might be a good example of something that doesn't have nudges, that you understand without anybody telling you what to do or without any rules. I mean, something as simple as everyone running out of toilet paper, right? It's like, well, what do I do now? Okay. I like my brand of toilet paper. Anyway, I don't think that example applied very well, but you get what I'm trying to say here, which is that making decisions, especially when we don't have information, is really taxing on us and our mental health. And so, so there are different types. You've got a mindful nudge, a mindless nudge, an encouraging nudge, and a discouraging nudge. So there's a lot of psychology behind that. In parenting, if you've ever had a puppy or a child or a man, you use a series of positive and negative reinforcements to encourage or promote the behavior that you want. Okay. Now, a big part of why a big part of what fucked me off about working in marketing, right, all these years was when I saw what Waze had done. Waze went from an open source mapping tool to something that nudges people contextually to go get McDonald's. Okay. And I just went, that's not right. That's an example of an unethical nudge that nobody, and the problem with this is that no marketer was fucking questioning it. They were celebrating it. And that's the thing with Google as well, with Street View, and they own all of the data and they can use it the way that they want, and they're nudging us in a certain direction. It's very much linked to how they are, how they sort of alter search results, based around certain ideologies, those sorts of things. They're using them. We use them every day, right? And unless you're aware of it, on my website, I've got a pop-up that says subscribe to my email list, right? That's a nudge. That thing right there, okay? That thing. It's a nudge to check me out. And maybe you might fucking go to Patreon. You might do that. You might subscribe. You might be more interested, right? They're all little nudges that go, okay, like and subscribe, okay? They're all sort of promoting you to do something that, anyway, that's not really what nudges are, but I'm just trying to explain it to an ordinary person who doesn't understand this stuff. So, but again, they rely on different types. So you've got automatic thinking, okay? So it's the type of thinking where the brain doesn't have to apply too much. So a lot of this is very emotional, okay? It relies on, the other way around. Oh, fuck. I've forgotten. This has gone too long and my brain's turned to mush, and now I can't get to the actual fucking stuff that I was going to cover. So you've got automatic thinking and reflexive thinking. Okay. So brain, it's really just pattern memory, driving, all those sorts of things where you kind of, there's like a default position. Okay. Now, think about what's your default state? Your default state is sort of, I'm trying to think of an example. It's gone. It left the building. But anyway, I'll probably put a link or something, or edit something in later. If I think of it, let me move on. And if I think of it, I'll splice the video back to explain that. But basically it relies on different types of thinking. That's not even really important. It's too much detail. But a nudge works because it can actually, people care about how people perceive them, how they perceive themselves. So there's reasons why nudges work, which is, and this is a good one. Okay. So care for self-image. So most people care about, I can't actually see the screen either. That makes it difficult. But most people today care about their image in the society I can't even read that shit. Hang on. That's not letting me do it. Sorry. Okay. Anyway, so most people today care about their image in society. Okay. So that's where what I was talking about before with social proof and all of those things. Being banned from Twitter is not a good thing, right? Trust me, it serves as a fucking gold medal, as a reward and a punishment in its own right. I use Megan Murphy's example as one because people use her ban as evidence that she's a Nazi, and it's like, well, no, she's not. You can't. Yeah. That's a whole other fucking thing. But I'm just saying, so, we all care about how we look in the eyes of others and those we love, and our self-perception of who we are as a person and those sorts of things. Being permanently banned from Twitter would definitely impact you, because you then are in the out group. Okay, you are, for those who value their Twitter account like I do, I will do anything to keep it, right? And I also don't want that perception. Right? Some people think it's funny. I don't think it's very funny to be unpersoned. Like I do actually get affected by things like my brand yourself, because I do actually value myself as a business owner, and my reputation does matter to me. It doesn't matter when it comes to stupid shit, but at the same time, that pressure does actually have an impact on me. So they do it. The influence. So an influence nudge is an example of why nudges work. So monkey see, monkey do, follow the crowd, right? That note, let's talk about toilet paper, shall we? That was weird. That was very weird. But LinkedIn is very much focused on the following the crowd and the reputational stuff. LinkedIn is actually something I could probably study separately and use a separate example. I can't sustain this for very long. It's been an hour and a half. I'm so fucking tired, but I'm going to soldier through. And it relies on default thought. So automatic thoughts. Okay. So habit, things that rely on our default state and our default sense of self. Okay. So, and as a woman and a man and all those things, they're very different things. So, some people we have different default states, but at the same time, most of us we like going back to our default state as much as possible. So any psychology or any design pattern that relies on that, okay? And one could argue that Twitter, the default state would be, for most people, being agreed with or getting along or getting likes. That's the status quo, right? The conflict is not the default if you are a rational and sane human being. Okay, so what they want to do is get you out of that, into that default safety. It's the bubble, right? The bubble where everyone's agreeing with you and you're being affirmed. Okay, so these all work together. These nudges all work together in conjunction to create. Again, you can probably see by now how they're used in both positive and negative ways. Okay, they can be used in the important. Okay, let me roll back. I'll just talk about the universal drive. So there are several like universal drives, right? So, you know, safety, shelter, emotional safety, love, you know, sex drive, you know, those sorts of things. Like porn uses nudges in a certain direction as well. Okay, I could actually critique the nudges towards the most extreme and violent porn to be unethical. But again, it's just this is a neutral thing in its own right. It's just how it's used. Okay, it's also very dangerous. But so it's not benign. So the nudge theory, I think this went. Here we go. It says it here. It won a Nobel Prize for in behavioral economics. But it's where people are driven to take better decisions and display a result of positive reinforcement through subtle changes in policies. So in this sense, policy means your choices. So how you view the world, okay, and the actions that you take, okay, roughly. So as of now, it finds its importance in the field of behavioral science, political theory, and economics, but it's been weaponized by marketers, and that's the thing, and game and tech companies. Okay, so if you see anything that is gamified, right? If you think about gamification, I always use Candy Crush, but they use it in Borderlands, they use it in Xbox, they use it in everything, right? To incentivize you to buy or make a decision or accumulate, or like one thing, like even just something like the Borderlands 3 events, right? What they're trying to do by time limiting those events is to and attaching it to virtual loot, right, and guns and stuff like that, is by time limiting it, they will get you to log on more so that you can farm more weapons in that period of time, because then they get you on there. Okay, it's just again, it can be used in Fortnite and their chests and their events. Okay, that's something that, you know, can be used. And you know, I've always said that gaming is basically fucking child slot machines. It's the same it's exactly the same hormonal response with a slot machine as with anything else. Okay, social media, marketing, all this stuff. Now, I'm focused more on the UX side of things, because this is where I think it's very important that we start thinking about the ethics of this stuff. Okay, because it is not benign. Now, the Twitter swearing one is a really good example, because I can see from their point of view, okay, what they're trying to do, right? Hang on, my app's not working. You know, I can see from their point of view that they're trying to prevent the situation where you go and get banned and then don't know why you got banned, and they're giving you a series of prompts and opportunities to change your behavior. Okay, so this is just an earlier one before the 12-hour ban. Okay, because after you get the 12-hour ban, you get the 3-day ban, and if you get the 3-day ban, you get the 7-day ban, and if you get the 7-day ban, then you get fucking suspended permanently. Like, there's a process. I think, you know, and again, outliers aside, okay, where it's been shown that individuals have been a problem for Twitter, and Twitter have switched them off because of other reasons. I'm talking about your average user engaging in average political debate who finds themselves fucking suspended and banned. You get a lot of chances. And this is another chance, okay? So that's all. I think that's what they're trying to do. But at the same time, what we need to do is really think about the potential consequences of this, because this is also, we're heading into social engineering town. The problem with persuasive design is the flip side of that is that it deals with the unconscious, right? Nudges are all about subconscious, right? And unconscious stuff, right? And when you start dealing with people's unconscious and subconscious, we all know the very, very important responsibility and ethical responsibility that psychologists and counselors have when it comes to their patients, primarily because they're dealing with their deepest, darkest shit and their unconscious bias and all those sorts of things. Now, why the fuck a UX designer doesn't have to answer to an industry ethical body? Right? For the same reason, because we are fucking with people's heads. And when you are fucking with people's heads, you have a responsibility, especially when it's something like when it involves, politics and that sort of stuff. Like the potential for this stuff to be weaponized. And again, I've said this is a cult. Like, and again, I'm focused on the woke cult because I'm in the left. And I think that people are largely on the left in my audience. Some people are on the right, but but I need to alert people to this fucking thing because nobody is hearing me. There is a cult that has formed around Robin DiAngelo and Judith Butler where they have taken good ideas that should be in a sociology department, okay, and should be in a sandbox, and they are turning it into a fucking scary thing. And the problem is that they've got this capture that's happening with institutions and tech companies, okay, and this is a problem because, and they're coming after gaming, okay, the canary in the mine, okay, will be gaming, okay, trust me. It starts with the swearing. This is just an experiment. I'm interested to see what it is. I don't know enough about it, but I was just trying to explain. Before people react, fucking free speech, bros, shut the fuck up. There's a quote. Shut up, free speech, bros. Yeah, anyway. Oh, fuck. Did I not record any of this? Oh, no, I have. That's good. I was worried that I hadn't recorded. Oh, no. But I have. That's good. No, what was I going to say? No, again, let's get back to the beginning of what I was saying, which is that I can have grave concerns about Twitter, their behaviour, their previous behaviour. I can have grave concerns about the government and their previous behaviour and those things, okay? I can acknowledge that they're doing a hard job, but I can also not trust them. But I can also then defend that they're trying, and that's the thing. It's like I don't know. I tend to be on the optimistic side of things, and it's been bad for me because we got here. I was at a conference, but no one listens anyway. I often wonder if I did speak up, and I sit there going, well, why didn't you speak up? I did. The conferences that I went to, I did speak up, and everyone's fucking like, no, it's fine. You're just being negative, Taya. Stop being negative. Okay? Don't be negative about our new marketing platform that spies on everyone and gathers all their data. We have no real fucking plan. And let's just hand all our data over to Amazon, who are subject to the Patriot Act. But that's going to be fine. Can't see how that's going to be a problem. Oh, I'm at a bank and I'm excited about the idea of people, us being able to market to them based on life events and also be able to predict when those life events are likely to occur. I can't see anything bad that would happen there. And here we are, because no one listened. So, good luck. I'm just going to sit here and, I do find it funny though. It is weird. Like we're in the middle of a fucking pandemic with a mutating fucking virus, murder hornets, and there's still fucking people doubling down on fucking whether it's okay to swear or not. But the problem with this stuff is that it doesn't stop with swearing, okay? And what I want to see, and I don't like slippery slope arguments. I think there is a role that this user experience of Twitter has to play in what I said, as long as there's like narrow use cases in the sense that it's a reply and there's a certain set of behaviors. I think they're doing okay. Honestly, the people that find themselves in the show under the show all replies deboosted thing probably fucking deserve it with their behavior. Okay. But I don't know. I don't know if people want me to sit there and explain how this stuff works or not, because it can get dry. And so I'm always in conflict between being funny and being smart and stuff. But anyway, watch out. And also don't let them go after games. And there's a cult. Please be aware of cults. Please be aware of loaded language. Maybe I should do something on that at some point so you can spot it better. And framing, okay? It's basically just positioning we learned about this in Year 9 Media, I think. Did you? I don't know. But how you position the reader while they're reading so that they make up their mind. It's another form of nudging them, right? So when they say, comedian and alt-right commentator Joe Rogan, it's like, well, No, they could have just said Joe Rogan. So what framing does is it sets the context and it just gently nudges you. Who's also friends with Ben Shapiro and also this and here's all his associations and this is blah, blah. Next minute you've decided that he's part of the alt-right. Okay, that's persuasive argument and that's what they do. Okay, that's framing and positioning. And there's a number of different techniques that they use to do that. But those are nudges as well. They're nudges of language. So understanding nudging, look it up. I explained it really well. I didn't really. But it's boring. It's like theory stuff. But you know, the idea of a nudge. It's all, just maybe, here we go, as an exercise. Here's some homework. Because I'm giving fucking homework now, apparently. Is to think about when you next time you eat or have do something or visit a website, write down the choices that you're making and see how much of that is automatic and how much of that is persuaded, how much of that is informed by, you know, the convenience and the brand and whether there's social pressure to do that and all of that sort of stuff. It's an interesting experiment. But also just when you're using a social media platform like Facebook, have a think. When as you're interacting with it, right? Make the unconscious conscious. Okay, look at the steps that you go to. Okay, like why do I look at the notifications? Most people will go to Facebook. The first thing that they'll do is go to the notifications. Okay, they'll see what happened. They'll scan those notifications to go, okay, all right. Then they'll go through. You know, it's interesting. Just pause. Maybe just watch it on 4 times slower speed. Get outside of your body and observe all of those little interactions, and also understand that my job and the job of others and user experience designers is to actually manipulate all of those, okay, and judge and get you nudged into that certain direction. Like even something as simple as logo placement, or like there's an established pattern now. But there was a time when that wasn't the case, right? Used to be, when the old days of Flash, you could do whatever you wanted. But, eventually Amazon and Facebook and Google determined what those designs were. And so, I come from a time when there weren't even design patterns. That's how fucking old I am. And I was just making shit in Flash and it was fun, animating, having fun. But now you don't realize just how reliant on frameworks we are. And those frameworks are predetermined based on research and psychology and observing and breaking down those interactions into tiny little pieces and trying to influence every single one of them. Okay. So make the unconscious a bit more conscious. Maybe that's my job. The next one I'm going to talk about is language, because I'm really interested in how, with the framing. I might do a video on framing tomorrow. I'll see I don't know if I've gotten any good material out of this. Maybe I have, maybe I haven't, but I'm just trying to get stuff out there. I love you. Thank you for your precious life seconds. If you want to pay me and or help me do a book or introduce me to somebody who wants to pay me to do a book, or allows me to sort of gradually decrease the amount of fucking stupid fucking website work that I have to do all of the time, hit me up. Can I need a sugar daddy? Can I get is there anyone rich who's got who can leave me, if they die from COVID, they'll leave me their money? I wish I could predict that. Anyway, any frontline workers who want to leave me their fucking money? That's dark. Fuck it. If you can't laugh, get fucked. Anyway, speaking of LinkedIn, I just got a message pop up. So I'm probably in trouble. I love shit stirring LinkedIn. I'm going to do a thing on LinkedIn at some point, because you want to talk about fucking nudging and psyops. They've been fined so many times for this shit, and they are the worst. No, you know what? Everyone talks about how Twitter is bad for mental health. No platform is worse for my mental health than LinkedIn, because it is weaponized. It is an awful platform when you start breaking it down. Okay, it's just yuck. Corporate, it's got that. all of that stuff, nudging and crowd following pressure and like swearing filters and not even a laugh react. You can't even joke on there. I mean, God forbid you'd have a joke on LinkedIn in front of a recruiter. Fuck recruiters. I don't want to work for anyone who can't laugh. All right. I love you. I'm going to go. Thank you for your precious life seconds. And sorry for the delays, but hopefully there's something fucking in 2 hours of talking. Have a great day. Think about how you're interacting too. I'd be interested. Actually, like, subscribe, comment. And if you want to do that, okay, if you want to comment after the fact, do actually sit down as a little experiment and see all of these little decisions that you make throughout the day. Even just do it like with lunch, okay, and have a think about how that's influenced, where that decision came from, whether it was automatic or whether it's influenced, whether it's based on habit, those sorts of things. I'd be really interested to hear what you think. I love you. Thank you for your precious life seconds. Fucking sponsor me or whatever the fuck you want to do. And I'm not going to stop swearing. I'm just going to keep doing what I've always done and say what I think and not be a dick and hope for the best. That's all we can do. Okay. I love you. Ciao. Bye.